So my son went to Borough Rock Elementary School, and I don't know if anybody else put that little light right down my thing. So I don't know if anybody else goes through this or have been through this, but when our children go to school, sometimes everything isn't reported to us. Now, some of you mothers might, or fathers, because there's some single fathers and parents, mother and fathers out there, that are okay with, oh, the school can handle it, it's okay, whatever, let them deal with it. And if it's not a big deal, don't tell me about it. However, I'm not that parent. If my son sneezed wrong, I want to know. But there was a situation where my son was in a fight and it wasn't reported to me. And that was the first incident, and he was like in third, no, he wasn't in third grade. He might have been like in second grade, I want to say, because he was really little. I remember him being really little when it happened, but he wasn't really like in a higher age range, but he definitely wasn't nowhere near fifth grade. However, I want to say he was like in second grade. He got into a fight. He come home and say, "Yeah, mom got in a fight today," and he's like, "Yeah, it was in the cafeteria, and him and a boy, him and another boy, like I said, got into the fight." So I went to the school. The principal at the time was Miss Green, and I said I want to, meet him with her because why didn't y'all tell me my baby got into a fight? So I goes up to the school. My son is my firstborn, and what ended up happening was he he was a liar, compulsive liar, and like I said, it's my firstborn. His dad lied too. So I will be honest. I was like, well, what happened? And the principal was like, Lamont, you didn't get into a fight. She literally looked at my child like that. You didn't get into a fight. Why did you tell your mom that you didn't get into a fight? And I was like, well, he do be lying. Did you really get into a fight, Lamont? Lamont looks at me, no, like this, no. And from that situation, and yes, it happened that long ago, but I remember. But he's like, no. And from that point, I was like, well, that was embarrassing. So then there was another situation where I think he didn't want to come home and tell me about it, but he had ended up saying something to the matter of something happened at the school. And I will be honest, like I said, I'm learning myself. That's why I post and make these videos, because even though I'm learning, I don't have anybody to teach me. I had mental health counselors in the past that'd be like, hey, do this way and do this that way. I wrote a letter to the principal because there was another situation, and I'm not quite sure, I'm not 100% sure what exactly happened, but I know I wrote a letter, gave it to them. They probably just threw the letter in the trash, probably didn't even bother to read it. So now I know to make copies of everything I send off. Even when I dealt with like Mercedes Benz, and that's a very luxury hat. You hear Mercedes, and you think they big deal, Holyfield. I sent them some man. They were like, "Oh, we didn't get it." Wait a minute, yes, you did. So I learned to track my steps. I took a picture of what I sent and the date that was on and everything. So always, 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 young people, old people, anybody, if you write a letter, take a picture of that letter you sent. Take a picture of that date that's on that letter. Always put your name, date, and phone number on anything. And when it comes to making important phone calls, if you have to record that shit, because they record you, why not record it? So and that's what people do anyway. Now y'all record them fights. Y'all gotta record them phone calls that track y'all. You know what I mean? But anywho, I think I look very beautiful. By the way, comment on one if you think I look beautiful. I was just checking out. But seriously, all right, back to the point. So I neglected to record when I did that. However, I do know they have a login sheet that would say, "Hey, she came in this day," and what she came in for, we have no idea, but she came in. Um, there was another incident where she what happened? It was just the principal, and that's the bad part about it. It was the principal. There was another incident where she said something to my son as to him failing the test. My son is autistic, but he's not on the high spectrum. If you see him, you wouldn't know it until you talk to him. If you talk to him for a long period of time, he's like, oh yeah, this motherfucker a little off. Let me stop now. But seriously, like, it's all love. Like my baby knows we are who we are. Like me, I know I'm different, and I'm okay with being different. Our brains don't work the same, and that's the beauty of being a human being. Everybody's not the same. We all work differently. However, sometimes our different can be something that needs a little bit more extra attention, and with that little bit of extra attention, some people might call that slow or being not normal. But what is normal? But anyway, back to the point. So she tells my son, the Spanish kids did better than you on the test, basically saying y'all black, y'all American, why the fuck y'all ain't do good? I don't like that. I didn't like it at all. So yeah, I said something to her, and like I said, this was at this point, this was the third incident. So I went up to the school. Me and my mental health counselor at the time went up to the school. We sat there. We waited for an hour, literally an hour, and she never showed. We called her to the office. I mean, the people in the thing, they called her to the office. I said we called her to the office. Like, well, come on to the office. No, we didn't do that. But we requested her to meet with her. And I was mad. I ain't gonna lie. When I first got there, I was mad. But then by the time I sat for so long, I wasn't even mad no more. I mean, that adrenaline left me. I'm not gonna say I wasn't disappointed. That adrenaline had left me. So we sat there. That was it. So I made a comment on Google. Made the comment on Google, and y'all can still find that comment on Google for Broad Rock Elementary School. But what I said, she then said to my son, "Tell your mama I miss being mean to her." Why are you still talking to my son? Why are you still being a pest? Why are you still harassing him? Because at this point, it's harassment. With that being said, it was harassment, it was bullying, and all of this was being done by an adult. On top of an adult, it was done by the principal of the school, the person that's supposed to run on top of everything. So I reached out to the superintendent, which was Jason Cameras at the time. I actually met this man in person one day at the school, which was crazy because before he even got elected, I seen that he was running up, or before he, yeah, elected. I saw that he was, running or whatever, and I was like, dang, his name looks like Karma. I want him to win. Me being dumb, but I was gonna say something. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna vote for Obama because he's black type of situation. It's so dumb. But anyways, whatever. Yeah, I said it. But we vote for people because they're qualified, not because of what they look or what they sound like. We are human beings. We don't want just a Lisa running y'all or do y'all. Oh, she cute. Let me vote for her. Let me say, all right, now before back to the point. So I reached out to the superintendent, which was Jason Cameron at the time. He's still the superintendent of Richmond Public Schools. Email him, tell him my concerns. He's like, oh, well, I'm gonna get on this, da 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 da. Didn't hear back. I emailed him again. Well, what's going on? I haven't heard from anybody. Da 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 da. Still on her back. So now I'm at the point where I'm mad. I'm disappointed. I'm like, I'm trying to do all this stuff and get my son some justice pretty much, because at the end of the day, they're not people on the street. People on the street, you handle that a different way. I will be, my face looks so crazy, but you handle that a different way. But these are actually people who have real government 9 to 5. So if you do something to them, it's gonna be an issue. Not saying that I would do anything to anybody. Not saying that. But either way, he didn't do anything. And I end up taking him out of school, sending him to Elijah House. I should sue Richmond Public Schools for all that money that I had to pay for Elijah House, because for one, like I said, I had a mental health counselor. With that being said, my mental health counselor was there for a reason. I was receiving disability. All for disability. It's hard to pay for that school. Their dad, he did help out, but barely. Not that, I'm not knocking him or nothing, and it's not about that. But with that being said, like, I didn't have a lot. And I end up so happened to get into a relationship with somebody who was able to help me a little bit more. With that being said, it was awful. So one day, I'm in the line to go pick up my son from Elijah House, and I was called by a teacher that worked for Broad Rock Elementary School. And she goes on getting to ranting about how bad the school was, how terrible things were. I really need to find this recording, and I'm so disappointed that I have all these phones and I have a hard time like keeping track of what I got. So I have to really go and dig through and dig deep in it. So she's telling me like, yeah, she done rigged up SOL scores, and I don't care if make it known that it was me that said all this stuff because I don't work for them anymore. The school's just that bad. There was a guy that was in one of my son's IEP meetings, and that's something I had to push myself. Okay, I will be honest. I say things like this because I'm a real straightforward person. Like, I'm just a parent. I'm no professional. I never had any training. So when it comes to children, I only do what my instincts tell me to do. Just like if you're in the water, your instincts is gonna tell you to hold your breath. If you're in the car, your instincts gonna tell you to hold the steering wheel straight and drive. If you're a parent, your instincts gonna tell you to do the best you can, and that's what I do. I do the best I can. So with me doing the best I can, my son is getting all S's on his intern report. But when he comes home, he has an F on his reading. He has a teacher who has a really thick accent, and this all happened at Broad Rock Elementary School. And I tell her, like, I said to the school, I said, so Lamont's getting F's, and like I said, I'm that parent. I don't like to go and be mean all the time. However, I do like to commend commend the staff when things are good, because I know when things go bad, I'm not gonna say I go overboard, because there's no such thing as overboard when it comes to your children. But I take it there. So I said to them, like, he got this teacher with this real thick accent. My son, I already told y'all in the registration situation, like, he started talking in like, well, full blown sentences is like three. Versus some children start talking full blown. Well, I'm not gonna say some. My 2-year old, my second born, she was 2 and she was talking like it was mind blowing, because he was my first, and then my second just come out like, ooh, who is this? This whole human being? This is how I'm supposed to be? But no, like I said, he's autistic, and we know that now. But he still was stuttering real bad, having a hard time pronouncing some words or whatever. But it wasn't real. It wasn't the worst. I will say that, because I've seen worse. So um, I knew that was a problem. I said he has this teacher that has this really thick accent. On top of the fact he already have a speech delay, or this stuttering issue. Why would y'all put him in his class? Why wouldn't y'all recommend speech therapy? Why? So with that being said, we end up getting him an IEP. There was one man in that IEP class, and I ain't gonna lie, in that IEP meeting, I'm not gonna lie, something about him just drew me to him. He had these long locks, and he kind of went down the middle like mohawk thing. I don't know him personally. I don't know his name, but I know he's on Facebook, and I end up finding him on Facebook, and I just end up adding him one time. And then when I added him, I saw the things that he was involved in. Now, I want to say, if I reach out to him, I feel like he's going to have some very valuable information for me. However, what I am going to do, I'm going to start a really big investigation. So if your child was ever at a school, especially in Richmond Public Schools, any school over the world, especially in Richmond Public Schools of Virginia, let me know, because those children who get into a physical altercation, that should be reported to home. Any child that they hear or talk about, or feel like they're being bullied and the teacher don't report it, that results in situations where children might feel low down, because they're not going to go tell their parents. The school ain't telling their parents, so how the parents going to know? Then you got a dead baby on your hands, then what? And it's oh, well, why the parents ain't doing nothing about it? They didn't know. And I mean, it's bad, but because I will say, I do think we're not gonna cut the parents out of this situation. Y'all, us definitely need to have that bond with our children, where our children are able to come to us and talk to us comfortably. Don't shut your baby down. Like, granted, I was looking at this thing on TikTok, and it's not funny, but I did find a little bit of humor in it. And like I said, I'm gonna keep this raw, so I ain't gonna do no faking. But I found it kind of funny, because the guy, I guess he was some type of killer or whatever, and there's something on TikTok, and the lady was like, the man had the glasses. Y'all already know what I'm talking about when I say the glasses. That's why I say I'm gonna find some humor in this. Just because that's me. But with that being said, he was like, the mom said to him, well, I guess you want to sit up and talk all night. And my first thought was like, dang, so those are her last words to her son. Yeah, look at that lash. That's on lacking. But I was like, dang, those her son, the last words to her son. And we as parents have to be mindful. Like, don't get me wrong, we don't have to baby and pacify these children because that's just not what the world is made and built for. However, just know how you want to be there for your person. And I always say that's my person. Like, I know people ain't married and da da da. What my terminology is my person. When you're there for your person, you want to like cater and do this. Don't even let them touch the ground. But when it comes to our child, we don't give them that, which is crazy to me. Like, don't get me wrong, children can be ungrateful, but so can your person be at times. Don't get me wrong, children can give you, you know, a little gift here and there, but their person might be able to give you more, but that's a child. So I think that us parents are sometimes lacking on what we give to our child and our availability to our children. So with that being said, let's all, do better. However, those people who hold those positions, like teachers, that's your job. That's your job. That's what you chose to do for money. Just like when these police officers, you chose to protect people for money. That's your job. Why are you shooting people that don't have guns? That's your job to come and help. I remember I had a gun pulled out on me, and it's getting off subject, but this is my point. This guy, I had my children with me, and like I said, I live by that. Don't call the police and da 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 da. Well, I didn't live by it that day, but don't call the police. Da 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 da. Me and the kids' father was arguing, and it got to the point where he wanted to stay around, and I was like, no, you need to leave. I had my two girls with me. They both were out of school at the time because they weren't old enough to go. And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to fight him. But like I said, I had been with him for like 10 years now. The fighting had been going on for that whole 10 years. Like, I'm tired of fighting. Fight you for what? You know? So, I was like, fuck it. Watch this. I'm gonna call the police. Police gonna get him from around here. Called the police and I called non-emergency or whatever. I ain't down 9911 or whatever. 9991. Anyways, I didn't dial that. I dialed like the non-emergency. Like, yeah, I just need somebody escorted off my property. Mind you, I lived in some apartments. Uh, call them. He literally had a knife. Woke up to him with the knife, like a little switchblade, like he was ready to cut me in my sleep. Like, why would you? What is? We're not even gonna get that. I'm getting off subject. So anyway, the point is, called him thinking, well, not him. It could have been him, her, anything. Called them thinking like, yeah, they're gonna just get him and tell him to leave, and he's gonna leave, and I'll be able to go in the house with the girls, and it'll be a whole nice little situation. So I'm in the car, and like I said, my baby was real young. My youngest was real young, but she remembers it to the point where she has a fear of. Well, I don't think she does anymore, but she used to actually see the police and get scared. So call them. The police officer says, "Well, do you got a knife?" He like, "Yeah." Pulls out his pocket. He was like, well, throw the knife on the ground. He throws on the ground. He was like, so what's going on? Do you live here with her? He was like, yeah, I live there. We married. I said, man, don't do that. You don't live with me. You don't supposed to be living with me. We're separated. We're supposed to be getting a divorce. The police officer says, oh, well, I can't do nothing about it. I said, okay, then. Well, don't worry about it. Come on, let's go. I picked up my keys. I picked up the knife. I said, come on, we're going to finish this in the house. Since the police don't want to do nothing about it, we're going to finish out. At that point, like, fuck you. We're going to kill each other. We're going to kill each other. Like, there was no, I felt like there was no out of that situation if we didn't kill each other. So, the police officer then pulls out his gun on me. And he was like, put the knife down, put the knife down. I'm like, well, why are you pulling the gun on me? Then you just said we can go. Like, what are you doing? What's the point of you doing that? Put the knife down, put the knife down. So I'm literally up at the door by the bushes. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was mad at this point. Like, you really gonna pull a gun out on me? Fuck you. Fuck you. I was going off. I ain't like, I was going off. It's not even funny. But this whole time, my kids were witnessing at this point. So I threw the knife down. The police officer ended up leaving. I came to my house. I was crying because I was hurt. I was hurt because my babies like saw all of that. They were in the car this whole time. So, with that being said, that man responsibility that day was to make sure we were safe, and he did not. Him pulling the gun out made me even sadder, and I even called like that lieutenant or whatever, and I started crying again. Like this what my son gonna have to go through. Like it makes me sad thinking about it now. This what my son gonna have to go through just because he's black. And I know it's the truth, because the worst part about it is it be the black police officer does it to me anyway. I goes and report my car having a bullet hole in it, and the police officer says to me, "Oh, you don't care because you just reported it." Like, look, I live in a dangerous ass neighborhood. I stay in my house until it's time for me to go to work. Monday morning, I go to work. I got a bullet hole in my car. What do you want me to do? You want me to stand out here and watch and be in my window every time something happened? I don't move my car. I leave it right there. And he says to me, "Oh, and I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna make sure I post the picture of this man's car when I edit this video." But yo, like, it just makes me so sad because, for one, those teachers, those administrators, they have a lot of power. I don't know if they look at it like that, but they have a lot of power, because the children are the ones that will eventually run the world one day. They are the ones that eventually have the power. They will be the presidents. They will be the Donald Trumps and Obamas and, hate to say it, Hudan Husseins of the world. You know what I mean? So because of what we're doing as parents, but not only as parents, but most of all as teachers and guidance counselors and stuff like that, it's bad, because parents send their children to school because they have to work. So that's the decision that the parent makes. But then the teacher makes the decisions to mistreat a child or ignore a child being bullied. And not to say these white kids be right for going to school with guns and stuff. I don't even know what the fudge be going through their head. But there was a baby that just recently passed due to bullying. Now, I want to say this, and I could be wrong, but black people, we kill ourselves. Like, we commit suicide versus killing everybody else. Them white people, like I said, I hate to say this to make the stereotype thing, but them white people, they go and get their Papa's gun and shoot the whole, with Papa's gun, they go and get their own gun and just shoot the whole school up, shoot the whole, and that's just kind of what I see in the world, and it's just so freaking sad. Now, I don't like to make race a thing. However, I do not ignore it, because I do tell people all the time, like, that baby's whitewashed. This is whitewashed. That is whitewashed. Because there's a lot of times when you get on the internet and that's all you see. You have to literally put in black. White people don't have to put in white people updo, but black people have to put in black people updo. Go Google it and you'll find out. But anyway, it's just sad. I don't like it, and I just want to know, how do we hold these people accountable? What community, what groups out there, what is going on in the world that helps people get through bullying, helps children get through bullying, on top of helping children get through bullying? What is out there to help these teachers deal with students? Because, like I said, those police officers, some police don't need to be police. They're doing it for a check, and I get that. No, I don't get it. They're doing it for a check. However, I get that everyone needs a job, but if that job ain't for you, don't do it. Just like that, the teacher thing. Don't do it for a check. I understand you need a check, but go do something else. Don't get the responsibility of, you know, our future in your hands and fluke it up. Don't do it. Stop doing it. Like, how do y'all, I don't even care how y'all sleep at night. But if you one of them teachers like, oh, these students get on my nerves, even with any job, you go to work with an attitude just because Jimmy didn't cheated on you for the thousandth time. Like, don't bring that energy to work. Leave that at home. And it's sad and it's very heartbreaking, but I feel like my child goes through that. When he goes to school, he may feel like he has to sit down, he has to be quiet. He's very respectful and he stands back a lot, because at the end of the day, you have situations where a teacher might don't take what you say seriously, Or like that police officer, oh, you just complain, it'll be all right, you'll get over it. Like, no, 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 no. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. This is a rant, at least a rant that I do. I said I'm gonna get back to doing this because I know I have some powerful things to say. However, I need help just like everybody else need help. So if you got some resources, tap me in. I have contacted the OCR, which is civil rights people. They're out of DC, and I want to take. I really want to take these schools to court. I feel like I should have did it the first go around because my son ended up going to therapy, end up literally being checked into the freaking psych ward behind this stuff. When he was going to Broad Rock now. So with that being said, let me know. Let me know what type of things y'all might have experienced or might know that I don't know, and that we can share as a community. Or if there are any groups out there for people like me, or groups that other people that can use, whose children have been through this stuff. So with that being said, I appreciate everyone's time. Stay tuned in. We are not only looking for the problem, but most of all, and most importantly, we all gonna look for solutions. And that solution sometimes is gonna require us coming together. So let's get our solution on. Let's, get our fixing on and fix these problems, because this is definitely a problem when our youth can't live comfortably when they're only children. And I do mean 16, 17-year-olds too. Like they go through it too, and I feel the worst for them. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up and end it right now because I'm getting emotional. I'm getting sad. Plus, I got some other things to do. But yeah, I take y'all time. Be peaceful, loving people, and do you think.